It's late at night. It's currently 12:30 in the morning when I'm making this. I just finished playing some Call of Duty with the boys, strapping Spawn Wave onto my big broad shoulders and guiding him to victory in these Call of Duty matches. But we discussed something on there, and the more I've been thinking about this, the more it really bothers me. And I'm very concerned for this game. Now, we got a state of play presentation. Highlights for me, there was lowlights for me. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, and it was kind of in the middle for me. I know some people said it was a perfect presentation, not for me, but that's kind of the beauty about video games. Video games are a very subjective thing. People like certain types of games. People enjoy certain styles of games. I understand that a game like Death Stranding 2 isn't really going to be for me because I didn't really care for Death Stranding 1. I get that. But when you take a game and you take a franchise and you're trying to bring it into a more modern era, and everything you've shown, everything you've done so far has been less than impressive, and it's something that I enjoy, it's a franchise I enjoy, it's a game that's iconic, then we have to start questioning things about this. This was a game that was at the State of Play presentation, and of course you saw the title. I'm talking about Silent Hill 2 Remake. My hype for this game has reached unbelievable lows, and it's because I've watched the trailer multiple times now. You know, when I talked about it at the State of Play presentation, I was mixed on it. I was like, it doesn't look all that great, but maybe it'll be okay. But the more I watch this, the more problems I have. This game is supposed to come out in 2024. It's being done by Bloober Team. Bloober Team gets a lot of heat from people. There's a lot of people who don't like their games. I thought the Blair Witch game was fine for what it was. So you would hope that they would be able to take this iconic game and do something great with it. Of course, the Silent Hill, demo thing that came out, people have been very against that as well. I still haven't gotten around to playing it. I was shocked at how many people didn't like that. But we're talking about Silent Hill 2 today. So this trailer, it's not very long. It's 1:34. This is supposed to be the combat reveal trailer. Now, Silent Hill has never really been known for combat. It was more of a means to an end. It's more of a survival horror game with an emphasis on survival. But combat does indeed play a role in the game. There are multiple weapons that you get access to, some hidden ones, some cool stuff. But it does play a role in the game. So when you boot up this trailer, this looks fine, but to me, I'm not trying to be a graphics whore or anything like that, but to me it looks like this looks less spectacular than Resident Evil 2 did on the PS4, Xbox One. And I think we could all be in agreement with that. Resident Evil 2 was taking the base game and remaking it for a modern era, much like they did with Resident Evil 4. But I'm just focusing on Resident Evil 2 and my experience with it on the Xbox One. That game looks substantially better than this game. I understand it's still early in development, but first impressions are very important within the world of video games. And as you watch this trailer, you get this glimpse of the apartments. This looks okay, not spectacular or anything like that, but it's fine. It does the job for the world of Silent Hill. There's lots of fog, there's lots of mystery, lots of wonder. Okay, I get that. But then we get to the combat part of this. And this is a fine shot. Pretty standard stuff here. It still doesn't look as good as Resident Evil 2 does, in my opinion, which considering that was a last generation game, that is a little bit worrying to me. But we get into this combat here. This combat does not look good. It doesn't look very good. And I know what you're saying. Combat is not a focal point of Silent Hill, like I just said. But the problem here is this. The problem here with this is you're bringing this game into a modern era. When you look at stuff like Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 4, all that were brought into a modern era, they improved upon the combat. They made it a bit more seamless within the game. You got to remember, the original Resident Evil games, much like this Silent Hill game that we're looking at, they had tank controls, okay? Did we want them to have tank controls in the modern version, or did we want a modern controller style? We wanted a modern feel to the game. And when I look at this, it doesn't look like the combat has been really improved upon. Like the animations and stuff, like the characters themselves don't look very good. But that's okay, if you can look past that. But just the way they're animated, the way they move, like just watch this sequence a couple of times and you'll kind of get what I'm getting at here. Like nothing is moving like it should. I feel everything looks very stagnant. Everything looks very sort of lethargic within the movement of this. This stuff looks fine. The gunplay, that doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very precise. It doesn't look very seamless and clean like a modern horror game is doing. Like a modern rendition of a Resident Evil. But here is where things just get off the rails. Listen to this music for a second. Is this the kind of music you want to hear in a survival horror game? I understand it's just a trailer, but this music is not indicative in any way, shape, or form of what Silent Hill is about. Think of the Silent Hill soundtrack. Think of even games in the Silent Hill franchise that were considered to not be all that great. Silent Hill Origins. A lot of people have a beef with Silent Hill Origins. Imagine that game with this music, instead of when you're walking up and that smooth sort of jazz music plays, with a bit of a creepy element to it, and the woman is singing, "Is it lonely where you are?" Like that scene is amazing, and it sets the tone for the game in which you are going to play. What is this upbeat orchestrated rock music? What is this combat? It looks so stiff. It looks so clunky, and I understand that there's plenty of time to clean all of this up. But first impressions are very, very important, and this game is leaving a terrible first impression. But the thing of it is this is supposed to be a 2024 video game, meaning that this isn't necessarily just a first impression. This is more of a potentially far along version of the game, to the point of where, can the graphics, can the physics, can the combat, like, look, there's no interaction here. Look at this. On the stomp, nothing happens. We'll play it in slow motion because that is the world of YouTube that we live in today. You go into that stomping animation, like, that doesn't look great. It looks okay. I guess a decent animation enough. But when you stomping on the character here, there's no interaction. Like that just it doesn't look like, compared to the original Silent Hill 2, like it almost looks like the physics are very similar, and they should be a bit more advanced considering. And the fact that there's no movement, there was no movement there. I'm worried about this game. I am worried about this game. I tried to give Bloober Team the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not expecting something up to the pedigree of the Resident Evil 4 remake. Am I expecting something up to the pedigree of the Resident Evil 2 remake? I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibility to expect. But obviously we're not getting that in terms of graphics or presentation or anything. And if that's the case, it's almost like, well, what's the point of doing this? You spruced up the graphics a little bit, but are you really making the game better? Or are you making a worse version of a game that is iconic by bringing it into the modern era and essentially half-assing it? My hype for this game used to be sky high, but now it's in the toilet. It's in the absolute toilet. And it seems like a lot of other people are feeling this way as well. And it's very concerning, man. It's very, very concerning that, because Konami, they don't get a pass on anything. With the handling of the Metal Gear Solid collection, especially the Switch version of it, it did get better. But still, it was very, they didn't put a lot of effort into this. And I understand this is Bloober Team's deal. Is this going to be Bloober Team's vision for Silent Hill 2, or should they have just spruced up the graphics, spruced up the controls, did a bigger presentation about this, considering the Silent Hill franchise has been dead and buried for a very, very long time. I want to hear your guys' feedback on this, though. Am I being too dramatic? Like I said, it's late at night. I'm in my feels a little bit, but this doesn't look good. And the more times I watch it, and the more vibes I get from this trailer with the stupid music, it just worries me. a lot about this game, that it's going to be an absolute disappointment. And I don't think the Silent Hill franchise can really afford that right now. Let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.